It appears mask mandates may in fact be returning, and it appears that Lionsgate is enacting them first and followed by this university. What's so crazy to me about this is the fact that it reminds me of the quote, "As goes California, so goes the nation." And if they try and enact this totalitarian shit again, and they really try and gin up this propaganda once more to try and push mandates and push lockdowns, around an election cycle again, shocker, who would have thought of that? Well, I can promise you this, as a very introverted person, I will become extroverted to the highest extent. I will go to all of the restaurants, I will go to the clubs, I will go hang out with all of my friends, I will go see all of my family, I will go travel to Austin, and there's not a thing that I won't do simply out of spite because I will not operate under this totalitarian bullshit once more. Not again. So, from Kevin Bass, PhD, mask mandates are returning. These are unsupported by scientific evidence. These are motivated by superstition and power. There's a battle for freedom and truth at hand. Do not comply. And I guarantee you, I will not comply with this shit ever again. So, here we see, on August 20th, 2023, greetings faculty, staff, and students. Effective immediately, Morris Brown College has reinstated its COVID-19 mask mandate due to reports of positive cases among students in the Atlanta University Center. So, not even at the college itself, over the next 14 days, the following protocols will be in place. Remember, guys, it's just 14 days to slow the spread, don't worry. It only turned in 2 years to shut down the global economic structure. 1. Mask wearing. All students and employees are required to wear face masks. Staff may remove it in their office while alone. Ridiculous. It's like, oh, well, you're alone in your office so you can take it off. It reminds me of the people that are so stupid that they drive around wearing masks in their car while they're by themselves. 2. Physical distancing. Students must maintain physical distance. So, the 6 feet to slow the spread nonsense didn't work. Masks didn't stop to slow the spread. And what we realize is that the government actually wanted it to be 10 feet originally. But 6 feet was introduced because all these businesses that were going to stay open said that they wouldn't go with it because it was going to be something that would have so many people stepping outside of their businesses, and they wouldn't be able to have so many people inside of it. I remember going through grocery stores, and there were arrows on the floor telling me which way I'm supposed to go down the certain aisles. Like that was going to stop a virus from spreading. A respiratory illness, nonetheless. It's absolutely insane, and it was laughable at best, and anyone that bought that, I'm sorry, but you simply bought into one of the greatest propaganda schemes that's ever been propagated on mankind. And I understand why. It was pushed down from the people at the top who were sitting at the podium that are supposed to be your quote-unquote betters that were telling you, look, this is for the betterment of your health. Why wouldn't you listen to them? If you wouldn't lie to your neighbor, why would these people at the front of the room lie to you? So 3. Large gatherings. Institutional guidelines for gathering sizes must be followed. There will be no parties or large student events on campus for the next 2 weeks. Isolation and quarantine for number 4. Students must adhere to institutional policies and CDC guidelines for isolation and quarantine. 5. Contact tracing. Compliance with college-initiated contact tracing efforts is expected. No. Fuck you. I would not go through with this at all. The fact that it's mandated that we're able to monitor every single step that you take simply because you may have got the sniffles is unbelievable. 6. Symptom monitoring. Students and employees are obligated to undergo temperature checks upon campus arrival. 7. Regular hand washing and sanitization. Frequent hand washing is expected from all students and employees. This should just be the norm. This should just be something that's standard for most people to go ahead and operate under because you should be washing your hands and making sure you're clean consistently. But here's the deal. If you're overly sterilizing your environment, then your immune system won't be strong enough to go ahead and take on the actual bacteria that would then capsize it. And we saw this with so many people that stayed locked down for so long during the COVID mandates and the COVID lockdowns, that when they came out, their immune system had gotten weaker because they hadn't been being braced by all the ailments of the world. And then they got sick over and over and over again because they simply had been locked down for a year, 2 years. There's people to this day that are still terrified of COVID and that are still locked down. It's unbelievable, and it's really sad that they feel this way, that they're completely terrified of other people, which we as social animals operate fundamentally and functionally properly off of interacting with other people. And the fact that there are people that have been propagandized into fearing that, that's quite tragic. Let's go ahead and jump into these articles. Lionsgate appears to have brought back mask mandates in office. This is fascinating. It says, is it starting again? A Hollywood studio has instituted mask mandates for its employees in light of the current COVID wave. Lionsgate sent an email to staff asking them to mask up on certain floors of its Santa Monica office after several employees caught the virus. The studio is also asking employees to conduct self-screening before coming to the office. Self-screening being the fact that you're checking for you have no symptoms of COVID-19. So basically you don't have the sniffles. And this is something that really blows my mind about this, is the mental gymnastics people operate on when it comes to things like COVID-19. It says Lionsgate sent an email to staff asking them to mask up on certain floors, which means this is a building with, again, multiple floors. So is there an elevator that everyone is using, and this is just a communal elevator, and everyone's simply riding in it, and what's happening is the person with the mask is going in that's sick, and they're riding in it at a different time and leaving the virus to sit in the elevator to get other people ill that weren't previously sick beforehand? And because of that, they're now using the same elevator, so apparently this isn't even going to stop the viral spread if that's the case, because this isn't even how you would contain a respiratory illness. Anyone that understands anything about germ theory or how viruses spread would understand this if you had the most modicum understanding of the situation. And I have minimal at best, and I still understand that this is a joke. So, while this is obviously just one studio and one office, the move comes from some national buzz about whether mask mandates might be returning as a variant EG5 becomes dominant in the United States. And again, there's always going to be a dominant variant of any virus that's going to be affecting the public. There's a dominant variant of the cold, there's a dominant variant of the flu, just like there's a dominant variant of COVID-19. The variety has caused an apparent boost in cases. The LA Public Health Twitter feed said cases are rising in the area, and the CDC's website says hospital admissions are up 14% nationally this week. Yet experts have also said the Omicron descendant variant, which has been spreading domestically since April, has thus far shown to be no more of a concern than previous variants. And that's because, much like any virus that continues to proliferate in society, what we see is that it will become far more contagious and far less lethal, because what the virus is trying to do is survive, and if it's going to be activating your body's internal systems and fighting your body to the degree that COVID was, well, what's going to happen is you're going to be raising your internal core temperature like you do when you're trying to excommunicate a virus, and that in itself will kill the virus, and that is not what a virus seeks to do. The virus seeks to live for as long as possible, to live in effectively an amicable relationship with its host. So here we see that last May, the film industry relaxed its COVID protocols to no longer require mask mandates in the workplace. The fact that it went all the way into May of 2022 and they were still having to wear masks throughout Hollywood, and when you see this consistently, it wasn't ever the stars that had to wear masks, it was always the help. And that's what they were. They were the people that they considered their underlings, and it was absolutely mind-blowing when you see people like AOC at these massive Met Gala events. And she's walking, and there are people holding her dress that are wearing masks as she herself doesn't wear one, but I thought the threat of COVID was so dangerous. It's so clearly just nothing more than a facade. It's a play that's going on in front of your eyes, and you are nothing more than the characters that are having the strings pulled, because you're nothing more than a marionette in the game of the governments. So, let's go ahead and move on, and as we see, the Hollywood studio Lionsgate brings back a mask mandate amid the COVID spike. The studio behind John Wick and the Hunger Games has reinstated the use of masks after several employees tested positive for COVID-19. So many articles from the corporate press just effectively say the exact same thing. I understand it's a simple topic of conversation and they're going to talk about it, but what's so fascinating is the fact that of all the articles I went through, there was no reason to even go through multiple of them and pull a bunch of them in, because they all effectively said the same thing. They were relatively the same exact length, and they were written basically the same way and inferred the same things. There was no nuance, there was no in-depth thought, there was no questioning of certain narratives or certain established presuppositions that have been pushed on the public. Nothing. It's just purporting the narrative, telling you what's going on because it's trying to psychologically condition you for what's going to come. The fact that the COVID mandates are possibly rearing their head again when we see something like an election cycle coming up is just chef's kiss, perfect timing. Who could actually be surprised by this if you're a thinking person? And on to the fact of being a thinking person. The Biden administration urges Americans to get COVID-19 boosters. I wonder what the thinking people will do. The Biden administration plans to urge all Americans to get a booster shot for the coronavirus this autumn to counter a new wave of infections, a White House official said on Sunday. So, this went from make sure you get your one shot and we'll give you your vaccine card. By the way, the vaccine card has 2 punches on it.
So you get your 2 shots. Oh, by the way, I know you got your 2 shots. That's very good. Make sure you get this booster. Don't worry, you need to get your second booster, which is your bivalent booster. Oh, it turns out that's not as effective because we have a new variant. Don't you worry, Moderna is just in time to have a variant ready to be protecting you of the vaccine that will protect you from the current variant that is going on among the world. Isn't that just absolutely fascinating? The official said that while the Center for Disease Control and Prevention are reporting an increase in infections and hospital admissions from the virus, overall levels remain low. On Thursday, Moderna stated an additional data showed that its updated COVID-19 vaccine is effective against the Eris and Fornax subvariants in humans. Interesting. Moderna's timing just simply couldn't be more prominent. Wow, how fascinating. Make of that what you will. I'm going to leave that here. Go ahead and give this a thumbs up if you liked it, a thumbs down if you didn't. Don't forget that Donald Trump kept Fauci on the job. He's the one who instituted Project Warp Speed. Joe Biden pushed it. They should both be tried for war crimes against humanity for the nature of what they perpetrated with the global economic shutdown from the COVID-19 pandemic that was wholly exacerbated by the nature of government overreaction, which led to the top-down totalitarian control of modern life that we operate under, which completely restructured how we orient ourselves in the West. Again, thumbs down if you liked it, or thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section down below. I believe I accidentally referred to the CCP as the CDC, but relatively speaking, they effectively push the same metrics, so who cares? Again, if you liked it, thumbs up. Thumbs down if you didn't. Tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section down below. Stay lovely, stay great. Tell someone you love them. Peace out.